Hey everyone, happy Friday. Hope everyone's getting ready for the weekend. Hope everyone's feeling healthy and staying safe and practicing social distancing, all that good stuff. Hopping on here this morning, just like we do every Friday, just myself today. Going to be talking about your weekend forecast and what the rest of the week looks like into your next work week. Gonna have it up on my Facebook, gonna have it up on the main station Facebook, so feel free to comment below, say hi, post questions, and just gonna give it a few more seconds to get some more people on here. Alright, we're gonna start off with our drought conditions because they're not looking too good. Alright, so we're gonna dive right in. So as of right now, our entire viewing area, with the exception of northernmost portions of Jackson County, are experiencing abnormally dry conditions. So we need the rain. We could certainly use the rain far on the west end of the Panhandle. Look in the Pensacola area. That's where you're seeing even moderately dry conditions. And then south of Tallahassee, that's where you're seeing those severe conditions. Now, it's the entire Sunshine State, so it's not just the Panhandle. Going to zoom on out so you can actually see what almost 2/3 of the rest of the state look like, even worse off than a lot of the Panhandle. So moderately dry, that's that next level up for areas like Tampa, almost areas like Miami, West Palm Beach, Fort Myers, all of those areas needing the rain. You get the idea. The problem is, we're not going to see a lot of rain, at least for the next week. Rainfall totals coming in less than half of an inch. And I want to talk about why we're going to stay mostly dry and also why we're going to see this warming trend kick in. Obviously, we were still recovering from Tuesday's cold front, came through severe weather across the Panhandle, and then let me know if you've liked the past couple of mornings. Certainly hit or miss. A lot of Floridians kind of like the high humidity. They like the warmer weather. That's why they live here. We've kind of gotten a little taste of more seasonal weather the past couple of days. It's been crisp and cool. We've had some really nice mornings. Want to talk about what's happening nationwide and why we're not going to cling to the cooler weather and why we're actually unfortunately, if you don't like the humidity, going to start welcoming it back. And we're going to get right back on track to another above normal temperature outlook. And unfortunately, not as much rain as we need to beat those drought conditions. So right now we're taking a look at our general regional temperature graphic. These are current temperatures. Oklahoma City, watch the vivid blue pop up. That is sub-freezing in Oklahoma, and then note right along that boundary, 66 degrees in Dallas, Texas right now. So you are seeing cities relatively close to each other that are well over 35 degrees of a difference. Drastic temperature differences. That pocket right there is where that boundary has set up, sprawled out across Texas, and you'll see that is polar air all the way from the north winds pouring into those cities. So North Dakota, South Dakota, those areas that were closest to that polar air, this morning, they're still dealing with winter storm warnings. They're still dealing with winter weather advisory. That's up 1 to 2 more inches of snow headed their way. And then it's called cold air advection. It's what happens when a trough digs in, that cold front at the surface. And note, you saw those temperature differences from Oklahoma City to Dallas, Oklahoma City being in that pocket where cold air advection, all of that cold polar dry air is sifting as far south as northern Texas. Obviously hasn't quite reached Dallas yet this morning. So what's going to happen is that cold pocket of air stays maintained into those cities that are within those boundaries. Now, as this front continues out east, this cold front will sprawl across the southeast, and at first glance you may think, okay, well, that cold air is headed our way. And it is, but it's not going to actually reach our area. And we had high pressure at the surface, and we're going to continue to see high pressure into tomorrow. And recapping on what high pressure is, because a lot of times we just toss out words like high pressure, low pressure, and I think some people don't know what that means. So high pressure You see those clockwise winds. High pressure is an area, a system that has a higher pressure than the area around it. So you're seeing pressure pushing down on a region. That's going to prevent that air from lifting. So when you have instability, that's air that's willing to rise. High pressure is going to keep the atmosphere typically fairly stable, and that also means light variable winds. Been showing a lot of our beachfront cameras the past couple of mornings, because how could you not? They're gorgeous. It's hard to realize that we can't really enjoy them right now, but that's okay. We are continuing to see just calm Gulf waters, calm bays, and that is a reflection of those light winds. Until high pressure leaves us, we're still going to see that. So for the next couple of days, also high pressure pushing down on an area, helping to not encourage cloud development. So obviously cloudless skies, more sunshine, daytime heating, your temperatures are going to reflect that. So that's why generally, of course there's exceptions, but generally when there's high pressure, you're talking about really favorable weather, you're talking about warmer weather, and oftentimes dry, because if you're not seeing clouds, if you're not seeing thunderstorms, you're not going to see rain. So high pressure will eventually leave us, and this is when, note how it's off the east coastline there on the southernmost portion of the peninsula of Florida. This is high pressure, Sunday 4 a.m. You're seeing those clockwise winds. Now you're seeing how we're going to be encouraged to experience south winds at the surface. And let's talk about what happens as this cold front continues to track out east. It tries to, and it turns stationary. What I mean by stationary front is you're starting to see those red half circles popping up. It is our not humid air mass because of past Tuesday's cold front. We're still fairly dry, especially for this time of year, but it is our warm air mass. Temps still going to be in the 80s today for inland spots particularly. So that ends up blocking that cooler air, and that cold front weakens. It starts to dissolve. However, there's things called, in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, long wave troughs and long wave high ridging. And so what that means is that trough was that pocket we were seeing helping to turn that cold front over in Oklahoma City, not quite in Dallas area. You can have long wave troughs digging into a region. That's what we saw on Tuesday. However, embedded into that pattern, you can also see a short wave. And a short wave is basically a kink in the overall trough pattern. So a little weather disturbance, sometimes a short wave can help clouds develop, help rain chances, and that's what we're in store for the next couple of days beyond the weekend here. So you have that long wave trough. No, we're not going to see the long wave trough, but we're not going to see that cooler air. We're going to actually continue on with our moisture content increasing, and we will deal with potentially still some model disagreements, but a few rounds of short waves. So there's still weather disturbances, but they're not going to be as significant as, say, a strong, potent cold front will be. So this was your dew points. You saw that red pocket, incredibly dry air. That's typically what you're going to see with a more potent cold front after it comes through. Green, you're seeing over the Gulf, and this is what we're seeing, that high pressure system, it's leaving us. This is already by Tuesday, 7 a.m. Those winds at the surface are going to now be wrapped around that high pressure system, coming back up toward the Florida Panhandle, and note their direction, out of the south. So we have winds going over the Gulf waters that are warming up very, very quickly, seeing pockets already in the 80 degree, around their range. Otherwise, we're seeing the Gulf waters in the mid to upper 70s. So that air mass that's coming on in from the south is carrying with it more moisture. And so we actually are saying goodbye to low humidity. I know a lot of people liked it. It's always refreshing to see those north winds and get some of those dew points back down into the 40s, because we know in Florida, before we know it, those dew points are back into the 60s and the 70s. And so that's what I was trying to say this morning. If you tuned into the morning show, if you like the humidity, nice and low, soak it in this morning. It's gorgeous out today, and it's gorgeous into tomorrow, but that humidity will start to climb, dew points will start to climb toward the end of the weekend, and by Monday, it's feeling kind of uncomfortable again, and into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this is where we start to see high humidity, and we actually welcome back some rain chances. Now, important to note, we started this video off with our drought conditions. We need a lot more rain than what we're going to get the next week. We're only going to see, for most spots, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe even 1/10 of an inch. For isolated spots, around 1/2 of an inch. So we have a lot of rain chances, meaning 10% on Tuesday, perhaps 20, 30% on the day after, but that's going to be for the lucky few, so a couple stray showers and the potential even for a couple isolated thunderstorms. The reason we say storm activity, not severe, we're not tracking anything severe yet for this next week, so that's the good news. You start to see CAPE. This is GFS, one of our model runs showing CAPE and wind. So as those south winds speed in, you're seeing CAPE inch closer toward the Florida Panhandle, and you're seeing those blue colors. CAPE's going to be a little bit more intense over the Gulf. That's why sometimes you can see frequent lightning, and we know Florida has the most lightning out of any state in summer, but you'll see it over the Gulf, where maybe over land you're only seeing showers. That's just a little more unstable over the Gulf, typically, of course, dependent on the weather maker that's coming on through. But once we head through the weekend, stability is really nice, and that's why we're thinking high pressure for those calm conditions this weekend. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be inside, so I'm hoping you can find some way. Let me know if you have creative ways that you're taking advantage of the wonderful weather here while also social distancing. But as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when you have those slim rain chances, they are for showers, yes, but some of those could potentially turn into storms because we are seeing that CAPE, which is convective available potential energy. That's what it stands for, enhanced just a bit. But we're still seeing those values under severe limits for right now. And I'm just going to leave you with this, our weekend forecast, Saturday and Sunday. So Saturday, some clouds build in. Shortwave tries to dig in, even if that original long wave trough from that cold front does not. And then stray shower chances because of that, mainly inland. 10% shot here, not a washout, not flooding, and that's why we are keeping a close eye on those drought conditions. 85 for Saturday. These are for inland spots, so a couple degrees cooler near the coastline as you're closer to the Gulf. And here comes the 60s overnight again. Did you miss them? 83 for Sunday. Yes, this morning we're still in the 40s and the 50s. We're saying goodbye to that. We're welcoming back even the 90s again by the end of next week. So hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Going to double check any comments before I head out. And overall, I hope you can see that weather is not going to be really of your concern the next couple of days, which is great news. Hopefully you can take advantage of that. And as of right now, the next system we're really keeping a close eye on is Easter Sunday. We could potentially see something, but when it's so far out like that, the models are still showing a lot of disagreements. Okay, a lot of people... Randy excited it's Friday. Me too. All right, looks like there's no questions. If you have any later on, feel free to post them, but otherwise, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather.